Simon and Daphne are dancing, and things start to heat up when he pulls off one of her gloves. They lean in for a kiss, but their lips never quite touch, and Daphne wakes up in shock. Lady Whistledown, always up to date on her gossip, reports that Daphne has turned down 3 proposals in just 1 week. Daphne has met up with Simon and tells him they need to keep pretending until she finds a husband. Simon, ever the gentleman, promises to play along. Meanwhile, Penelope is watching the world go by from the window. She suddenly sees something, dashes off and races past Prudence and Philippa, who are chatting about the prince coming to town. Penelope, however, is bummed to find no mail from Marina. She tries to cheer her up, saying letters from the front lines take time. Lady Featherington barges in, shoos Penelope out, and tells Marina she needs to find a husband pronto. Marina's not thrilled about it, but Lady Featherington couldn't care less. Daphne is discussing her suitor options. She's not pinning all her hopes on the Duke, especially since he hasn't proposed. At the ball, Daphne and Simon make their grand entrance together. Lord Weaver swoops in, asking Daphne for a dance. Simon, in a mock jealous tone, asks if he must share her with everyone, making Daphne laugh and say he did that perfectly. Daphne dances with Lord Weaver and tries to chat him up, but he can barely hold a conversation. Her next partner just brags about his real estate, and the one after that is so close to his family that his mother would live with him and his wife. Lady Danbury and Lady Bridgerton are watching and chatting about Daphne and Simon. But Lady Danbury isn't worried even though Simon hasn't proposed yet. She thinks they are a great pair. Daphne tells Simon she's unimpressed with her suitors. Just then, a prince from Prussia arrives and Cressida Cowper pounces on him. Daphne and Simon watch, predicting her every move. The Queen leads Prince Frederick to Daphne, who, in a fit of nervous laughter, snorts and blames Simon for it. Another suitor whisks her away for a dance. Genevieve Delacruz closes up her shop for the night, but hears a noise. She finds Sienna hiding out, looking for a new gentleman to support her. Sienna wants a sensible man unlike Anthony. The men are gambling and Lord Featherington is on a losing streak. Anthony chats with Simon, who assures him his intention towards Daphne is respectful, though he has no plans to marry. When Sienna enters, Anthony can't resist and excuses himself. Daphne tosses and turns in bed. She eventually gets up and Anthony finds her on the way to get some warm milk. They try to light the stove but fail, so they settle for cold milk instead. Daphne asks why Simon is so against marriage. At first, Anthony hesitates but does explain Simon's lonely upbringing and hints that some people just aren't meant to be together, no matter how much they wish otherwise. Daphne thanks him and heads back to bed. Lady Whistledown mentions Marina re-entering society as Daphne practices her piano. Genevieve is fitting Marina for a dress, noting that her measurements are incorrect. Lady Featherington blames it on Marina's fondness for cake. At another event, Prince Frederick makes another appearance and the ladies fawn over him. The Bridgertons arrive and are in awe. Lady Bridgerton talks about the eligible ladies nearby to Anthony. When he resists, she tries it with Benedict and Colin. Eloise and Penelope are talking about a painting. Marina passes by and signals for Penelope's help, so Penelope leaves. Lady Featherington is introducing Marina to Lord Middlethorpe. Penelope interrupts, but Marina rebuffs Middlethorpe, angering Lady Featherington. Henry Granville and Lady Danbury discuss a painting with Benedict, who criticises it, not realising it's Granville's work. When he finds out, he's embarrassed and asks Lady Danbury why she didn't stop him. Prince Frederick finds Daphne, they chat, but she's distracted by Simon and excuses herself. Daphne finds Simon alone enjoying some art. She's pleased they're fooling Lady Whistledown into thinking they're madly in love. They admire a painting that was Simon's mother's favourites, and as they touch, a noise breaks the moment. They find a crowd around Cressida, who has swooned into Prince Frederick's arms. Simon heads home instead of the opera. The Queen is unimpressed with Lady Whistledown's latest paper. Frederick questions the King's absence, but the Queen insists Daphne is the perfect match for him. Frederick worries she's spoken for, but the Queen tells him to charm her. Benedict is frustrated with his drawing and tears a page from a sketchbook. Daphne practices piano until Eloise asks her to stop. They argue, but Eloise finally asks about the piece she's playing. Daphne had composed it herself but hasn't named it. Eloise tells her to practice and come up with a name. Lady Featherington takes Marina to the slums to show her future if she doesn't marry. Marina, undeterred, insists she has a man who loves her, though he hasn't written back since learning she's pregnant. Lady Featherington says men often waver when faced with consequences. Lady Danbury and Lady Bridgerton chaperone Simon and Daphne. Simon shares stories about Anthony, and Daphne wonders if marriage is about marrying your best friend. She asks Simon about the expectations of the marital bed. Simon awkwardly explains it involves touching yourself where it feels good. Daphne is confused but curious. Lady Danbury warns Simon not to be so cruel by leading Daphne on if he doesn't plan to propose. She taught him better. Eloise is again smoking on the swing when Benedict joins her. They talk about pursuing their passions. Eloise says Lady Whistledown, despite being a woman, writes under a fake name and still follows her dreams. Benedict should too, so she can live vicariously through him. He jokingly asks if she's Lady Whistledown and she denies it. Daphne is laying in bed thinking of Simon and she starts to touch herself. The next day, Daphne's piano playing pleases her mother. Eloise hopes the piece finally has a name. Daphne meets Simon outside a tea shop, but he says their arrangement is over. She asks if she did something wrong. He says no, but insists she deserves better. He tells her to be happy with the prince and leaves. Daphne cries. Simon arranges to leave the city quickly, and Daphne goes to her room crying and tells her maid Rose to leave her alone. Sienna performs at the opera and finishes to applause. The stage manager tells her a gentleman is waiting and it's Anthony. She asks what he's avoiding. He says he misses her and can't stop thinking about her. She pushes him away, saying she can't be his fool again. Penelope checks the mail and finds a letter from Marina. Marina opens it and is heartbroken to read that her lover disavows her in a pregnancy. In another room, Lady Featherington and Mrs. Varley celebrate. They fake the letter to convince Marina to marry quickly. Genevieve alters a dress for Daphne. Lady Cowper enters the store and is relieved Daphne is with Simon, giving Cressida a chance with the prince. Daphne tells Rose to put away the new dress and to do her hair perfectly for the ball. Anthony works and looks at his watch. His mother enters and gives him a list of eligible ladies. He says he'll consider it. She reminds him time is of the essence. Cressida and Prince Frederick dance at the ball. Marina is immediately asked to dance after her arrival. Simon tells Lady Danbury he's leaving early. She calls him a fool. Daphne draws attention when she enters the ball, and Prince Frederick asks for her first dance, and as they dance, Simon slips out of the room. That's it for the next Bridgerton recap. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next recap.